Gardening.
The other two are going to be late, so.
Okay.
In fact, she's home at the dining room table right now,
Arguably, you don't
planting
need
seeds.
that.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to night 2 of our budget review. Rodney, you going to take us into the excitement tonight?
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Joining us, we have Select Board Member Maureen Bernard, Assistant Town, oh, that's loud tonight. Assistant Town Manager Jen Breaker, various staff members in the audience as well. We're going to do a lot of the finance, management, legislative budgets this evening, and then tomorrow evening is when we'll do police, fire, and public works. So jumping right into the management budgets, the first one is the management or the town manager's budget. The operating increase you can see of 7.94% is driven exclusively by postage. So between the actual cost of postage rising, as well as the potential that we may need to lease a larger machine, that drives the cost on that budget. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions from any board members? Any questions from the audience?
Mr. Chair, do we have to, A, are we going to be taking notes from this? Did you want to discuss that, the fact that we're going to be doing, I thought you said that the other night, that we needed to take.
We're going to start, we'll be having some minutes at the meetings. You'll be voting on some, minutes are taken, they just have historically not been voted on in this committee as long as I've been a member, but starting we'll be voting on some minutes in a couple of weeks, but no. The minutes are always taken, but we're going to,
All right.
The minutes will be prepared by Ann Freitas.
Yes.
So,
Okay. I vote to approve the budget as in the book.
is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
sorry. Next up, we have department heads. You'll see a decrease in the salary and wages that's related to turnover and the anticipated salaries of both the new town manager coming on, as well as the new DPW director, when that is appointed later on this year. And then operating expenses are flat. This includes funding for all existing positions, including vacancies that have historically been in the department head budget. Happy to answer any specific questions on that one as well.
Questions from the committee? Questions from the audience? Is there a motion?
Move the budget.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Legal counsel, this is where we, predominantly it's Murphy Hesse, but any other outside counsel as well is paid out of the legal counsel budget. We show you, you don't have to vote on water and sewer right now or electric. We like to give you a total picture of our overall budget for legal counsel. It's level funded, and again, as we normally do, we remind everyone that we receive great rates for being one of the first municipal clients, if not the first municipal client of Murphy Hesse, Toomey, and Lehane. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Questions from the audience? Is there a motion?
Move the budget.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Going into the legislative budgets, we can start with the town moderator, level funded.
Questions? Bill, anything? Okay. Is there a motion?
Move the budget.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
And secondly, the select board, slight increase that's related to our annual fee for MMA, the Mass Municipal Association, not mixed martial arts.
Any questions?
The only thing when was the last time we increased the salary of, I think I asked this.
We did it 3 or 4 years, was it 4 years ago? Yeah.
Was it, because for some reason, I think we made $3,000 25 years ago when I was on this select board.
Yeah, no, we did increase it. I believe it was 4 years ago.
It was.
Yeah.
Do we know where that rates comparatively?
We did an analysis at the time. I don't know 4 years later where that would range now.
Okay. All right.
I
I'm
have
not
one.
asking for it, I'm not going to give it to him.
It's not related to the budget. Curiosity. When is the MMA convention? They have one in the spring, or is it?
January?
January is the annual convention. They have different events throughout the year. Yeah.
Nice, okay. Is that the one they move all over the state?
That one's, do you want to?
The MMA annual meeting occurs in Boston every year. It has historically been at the Heinz Convention Center. This year, they moved to the Seaport. I forget the name of the convention center over there, and we'll be there for, I believe, the next 3 years at least. And then they have,
That's not the one I'm referring
Are
to.
you thinking of the annual finance committee
Yeah, maybe that's.
meeting? That's
yeah.
usually in the fall?
I didn't know when it was, but I think you and I went at one point.
Yes.
I went a couple,
Sturbridge.
yes.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Me, Sturbridge.
You and me.
Yes.
Yeah, but that was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great barbecue place in Sturbridge. But, yes, yeah, we were there.
I'm just curious as to when it is held.
Yeah, and as a reminder to all of our FinCom members, you're always, as members of the Massachusetts Finance Committees Association, any of you are welcome to attend that meeting, and I have found it helpful when I've attended in the past.
My one memory of the MMA convention that I was, one of the ones that I was at, was Wayne sent me to the special thing that was supposed to be it was called Getting the Tough Project Through. And I remember being on the elevator, going up the elevator with select board members and city councilors from other communities. And they were talking about the tough projects they were trying to get through in their community. And one of them was a prison. One was like a nuclear waste site or something of that sort. And they looked at me and said, "What is your tough project?" And I said, "The rail trail." And they went, where are you from? And they went, "Danvers." And they went, "Oh, yeah." So,
Is there a motion and a second on the select board budget?
move the budget.
Motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Our favorite, the Finance Committee Reserve. Again, this is level funded. As you're all familiar, we use this for a variety of reasons that pop up, unexpected expenses such as health insurance, public safety overtime. I believe the last time we used it was, I believe, 2 years ago for some information technology expenses. So
Not anticipating anything this year?
as of, knock on wood, as of now, no. I think we should be able to handle it all through transfers. But again, we still have that full $125,000 available at the moment.
Great. Do you recall, Rodney, that, and the number has fluctuated in the past. I think it was higher initially when I first came on, or maybe it was lower, and I'm just remembering things backwards. But do you remember maybe in your history how that number has fluctuated a
I
little bit?
believe it's been 125 as long as I've been here, which would be 7 years. It might have been 150 maybe the first year.
That's maybe the number,
Yeah.
that's kind of,
Yeah.
okay.
The year that we did use it, I can't remember, did we need more than the 125, though? Do you remember
No, I
that?
think it ended up being close to 100,000, yeah. Let's see if I have that.
Questions from the audience? Is there, no,
Is there a limit
Sorry.
to what that can be?
well,
$1 trillion.
Is it whatever we approve?
yeah,
Okay.
whatever town meeting approves.
Whatever town meeting approves, obviously.
It's a limited sense that it
Yeah.
would come from, if it went up, it would have to come from another, we'd have to cut something else to balance, but yeah, it's part of the overall operating budget.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
Motion to move the
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
And next, speaking of information technology, we have the IT budget. IT Director Colby Cousins is here. Slight increase based on contractual costs, relatively flat on salary and wages due to turnover, and overall, the budget's going up 1.21%.
So, yeah, relatively modest increase this year. Nothing of real note. We had some turnover in the department, that's why salaries and wages went down a little bit. But happy to answer any questions about the budget.
Mike?
What is the difference between an IT strategist and a technical support specialist?
Well, a technical support specialist is like a hands-on help desk type of person. And then the IT strategist, as it indicates, is more of a higher level strategic role.
And I-
Planning and design and that type of thing.
And obviously, your thought process was we're better served by having the technical support specialist on staff?
Correct, yes.
Anything else? Arthur?
I'm good. All set.
All set.
I'm good.
Ted?
No, I think I'm good.
Questions from the audience? Mr. Bradstreet?
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. Not a question, a comment. He's
Please.
well worth what he's getting, and he deserves a raise. Thank you.
Well, we already voted on his salary on the department heads.
Then another stipend, however you want to verbiage it.
Go to my review every year.
Yeah. Thank you. Amy, nice to see you.
Good evening. Amy Butler, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I just have a question about the telephone. So there's a line item in this budget for telephone, but there's also a separate warrant article we're going to be voting on about a telephone. So can you just briefly discuss the difference between the two?
Sure, thank you. The difference is, we're going to retire one in favor of the other. So currently, we have about 7 different phone systems in town, so that's why you see line items in different places for phone service. They're all integrated together, and you can make calls with 4-digit dialing amongst them. But it's really not the most efficient type of deployment, and it's not the most efficient to maintain. And we've been evaluating phone systems for a few years, but we finally landed on what we like, which will allow us to consolidate all 7 of those phone systems into one. And that sort of bulk purchasing and economies of scale there are going to generate, we're estimating around a 40 to 50,000 savings in the operating budget year over year. So yes, the phones are a little confusing right now, and that's one of our big projects to address at the moment.
Anything else from the committee? Is there a motion?
Move the budget.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Colby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have our human resources budget. Salary and wages increase related to salary adjustment of the assistant HR director, and a slight decrease in operating expenses. We have Philippe Hippolyte, who's here to answer any questions, our HR director.
Ed, anything?
So, who is the Director of Public Works right now?
Public Works? Yep, so the acting director of Public Works is Rob Dever.
So it's acting?
Yes.
Okay. That's my only question.
Okay.
No questions.
We had him roll up there. You guys have to ask.
Well, actually, I have a question.
I think it might, it's going too
Ted,
fast.
go ahead.
The Director of Equity and Inclusion, that's unfilled at present?
Yep, so that's in the department head's budget, but it's budgeted.
It's budgeted, but it's not filled at present.
Correct.
Paul?
First of all, no real technical questions, but I've gotten to know Philippe over the years, and he's been an extreme help for me as the chairman of the HRIC. And I just can't thank him enough for everything he does, and the folks that work with him. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Arthur?
I'm good.
Mike?
No, good, thank you.
Okay. Anything from the audience? Thank you. Is there a motion?
Move the budget.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Philippe. And next, we have the town clerk budget. Our town clerk, Kathy Ellsworth, is here to answer any questions. Again, you'll see a lot of red, which is great from a budgetary standpoint, but it's really driven by the fact we'll have fewer elections in FY '26 versus FY '25, which I'm sure the town clerk is very sad about.
Kathy, welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Ted, anything?
No, I don't think so. I'm good.
Wally?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
No questions.
Paul?
Thank you very much for all you do, Kathy. I appreciate all your help.
Thank you.
What are you going to do with all the extra time since there's going to be less elections?
That's a really good question. Catch up with all the things that we didn't get to.
There we go. Okay, thanks.
Mike?
Kathy, what's for the local election, what's the process in terms of early voting, that type of stuff? Is there, do we do any of that? I can't even remember.
It's pretty much the same. We have the option to opt into vote by mail, which we did this year. And we have the option for in-person early voting, which we also opted in for. And the idea is to make us available or to make voting as convenient as possible for the voter. So we do one day of in-person early, which will be on the 26th, next Saturday, from 10 to 4.
Is that the only day for the early voting, is the one day on
For
Saturday?
the local election, yes.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you have literally tens of viewers who may watch this, so if there's anything else that you want to say to the community about the election, go right ahead.
No, I think that, if people want to come on Election Day at the Field House, we'll be there. If they want to come early voting here next Saturday, we'll be here. If they want to vote by mail, they could come in, fill out an application, or download the application on the website. Thank you.
Kathy, I've noticed you've been doing some renovations in the office. Can you tell us about those?
We did some redesign.
They look beautiful.
Thank you, I appreciate that. We found that the configuration that we did during 2020, during COVID, really wasn't conducive to running an election. So we had to kind of restructure it to give us more space to do the things that we need to do and stay organized.
Great, thank you.
I'll let you know how it works out.
Any questions from the audience? Bill, do you have something? Your hand is up.
Are you confused? You having a stroke?
I hope he's going to give Kathy a raise, like he gave
Thank you.
Colby a raise.
Are you going to give me a raise?
A comment, yes, a raise, please. She does an excellent job, very helpful, deserving. Please.
I appreciate that, Bill.
I think everyone else does.
The check's in the mail. Anything else?
I think that's it. Is there a motion?
Approve the budget as written in the book?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Thank
Kathy?
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Next, we'll go into the finance budgets. We'll start with accounting. Increase in salary based on contractual, slight decrease in consulting services, overall a 4.5% increase.
Anything, Mike?
Nope.
Arthur?
All set?
Paul?
All set.
All set.
Ted?
I'm all good.
Anything from the audience?
Move the budget.
Do we have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. Next, we have the assessing budget. So we do have some savings here. We reorganized the department structure. So what we did was we took one of our admin positions and created a data analyst position to get out in the field. What allowed us to do was have better control on some of these cyclical inspections, as well as reduce our contract with Patriot, who provides our services. So again, it's a win-win for us. I'm happy to answer any questions on the assessing budget.
Ted?
I think I'm all set.
All set.
All set.
Paul?
Yes, fine.
Arthur?
good.
All set. Mike?
On our building permits, does our assessor have to sign off on building permits? I know a lot of communities have gone to that it's part of their.
Don't believe so, but I can confirm that, but I don't believe. I know they see the building permits, obviously, but I don't know if they need to.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I know from my kids doing theirs, that in that particular community, in order to be able to get a final
Really?
sign-off, the assessor, which I think, I know this might be a little bit controversial with some people, but obviously, that the assessor likes to be able to take a look
Yeah.
at these houses,
Yeah.
and that does sort of afford the opportunity to be able to do a home inspection at a time in order to get that permit, which I think they like.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I can find out.
Questions from the audience? Is there a motion?
move the budget as it appears in the book.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the treasurer collector budget. We have our assistant treasurer collector, Nick Naven, who I didn't tell he'd have to answer questions, so if he doesn't want to, I'll field them. Our Treasurer Collector Jill Summit's on vacation celebrating her birthday, which sounds a lot more fun.
It's a big birthday, too.
Yes. I'm not gonna, it is her birthday.
Don't touch that one.
I saw it on social media, so.
I also want to shout out Nick Naven. Obviously, we've all been wearing a couple of hats the past few months, and Nick Naven has taken on yeoman's work, helping to produce not only the actual financials of the budget, but he really was the main driver of this book right here. So kudos to Nick.
Nicely done, Nick.
Yep.
Thank you.
In terms of the budget, the operating expenses is the one that stands out, and that's an increase in bill printing as well as a slight increase in software maintenance costs as well.
Ted?
No questions.
No questions.
All set.
I'm good.
Mike?
Investment-wise, I know it's crystal ball, but I'm assuming we don't anticipate the same type of return this year that we had last year, but if we,
Pretty similar.
You
I
think
mean,
so?
we're not budgeting to the actual we achieved in '24 or the one we'll achieve in '25, but we expect it to still be up. Right now, I believe it's 4.5 for our main depository account.
in our collections generally this year, we've had no issues in terms of seeing any diminishments in
No,
regards
no
to.
standard
problems.
collection rate, yeah.
Thanks.
I am surprised to see printing up, only because I feel like more and more people are not receiving printed bills.
So this is the cost of, yeah, we still have some that mail. A lot of this, I think, is
Okay.
driven by motor vehicle mailing
Oh,
those
right,
bills.
okay.
Yeah, we've seen an uptick from the vendor on that cost.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Questions from the audience? Is there a motion?
Move the budget.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Debt service. So overall, the debt service budget is declining based on some debt falling off the schedule. We have one new addition to the debt service year, and that's the acquisition of the preservation restriction over at the Rebecca Nurse Homestead. That was a $750,000 cost that we financed. Same use of the debt stabilization as the prior year at the $1.46 million. Other than that, happy to answer any questions on the debt budget.
Can you explain to me what the acquisition of the preservation restriction is?
I can try, but I'll probably butcher it. But essentially, we bought the development rights at that property as part of our open space plan.
So that's not already private, owned by the,
They could, it was, yeah, it's owned, managed by the alarm list. There was a way for them, it would be convoluted to unwind it and make it developable. I don't think that's their intention. It's not our intention. The funding allows them to do some infrastructure work on the property as well.
when did we appropriate that?
It was used prior bond authorization for land acquisition that we had already had on the books for a few years.
Was that it?
That's it. Yep.
Wally?
I'm good here.
I'm good.
I'm fine.
Arthur?
I'm good.
Mike?
Just so that we can make sure that everybody is clear on this, our diminishment of our bond rating had nothing to do with how our debt service is structured, especially in the fact that none of it is quote-unquote secured by a debt exclusion.
No, that did not impact the rating.
Okay.
Let me just ask, just maybe think, so with that reduction, if we were to go out to borrow, what's the effect on the interest rate?
I would say I'd want to confirm in the current market, but maybe a quarter basis point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Any questions from the audience? No? Great.
Move the debts?
Got a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that's Mike's favorite graph of the
Oh.
level funded debt. If we want to take a look at that, again, that just shows again that by level funding of the debt, so instead of having declining debt service, which is ideal and which is we try to do for the utilities, a lot of our, especially the big school projects, good chunks of them were level funded, which means that debt exists level funded throughout, and that's why you see a pretty steady block that really doesn't start falling off until FY '38. So,
Rodney, can I ask one question? Mm-hmm. Or maybe for future?
yep.
Can, on the debt, on this, on page 82, can we just have a column that's got like, principal balance on there?
Yep, absolutely. And next, we have the Danvers Retirement System. Again, the valuation is approved by the Danvers Retirement Board, but in line with the overall town policy, we target an 8% increase year over year in order to hit our fully funded projection of 2035. We are at this point, as of the most recent valuation, 64.5% funded. We also lowered our assumed rate of return to 7%, which is more in line with similar communities. Again, happy to answer any questions on this.
Mick, anything?
No.
Seem disappointed.
It is, well, what are you going to do? I mean, it's a killer, but it is what it is.
Nope, I'm good.
Paul?
Just one thing, legal services went up, is that 10,000? Did I see that right on the, salaries, wages, and then legal services?
Yeah, so we had an increase in our hourly rate, and we always also have some RFPs that we're doing on some different investment consultants, so, and we also had some bills, so they function, even though we appropriate now, the retirement system funds on a calendar year basis, so essentially this is getting bills caught up that we had carried over.
Okay,
So it's a combination of factors, but yeah.
thank you.
No questions.
Wally?
I'm good, thank you.
Ted?
What's the total amount of assets in the fund?
Roughly 160 million, but if you want to give me a second, I'll give you the real number.
That probably moved 3% today, so you don't have to get that.
What's that?
Probably moved 3% today, so you don't have to get that specific.
Yeah.
What does the contribution, so, when we get to 2035, assuming actuarial stuff is right,
Yep.
how much does the pace of the contribution increase slow?
So we roughly will, at that point, we'll drop, based on the escalating cost every year, the last time we did a projection, I can pull up the fresh numbers, create roughly $14 million at that point in levy capacity, and we'll just pay the normal annual cost, and the liability will reduce it to zero at that point.
So like 14 million in 2035 dollars.
Exactly. Our plan, which the select board approved a couple of years ago, was to redirect that towards the OPEB liability.
Okay. Okay. That's it for me. Thank you.
Anything from the audience? Is there a motion?
Move the budget.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, the benefits and insurance budget. Level funded on some of the various transfers, like funding our workers' comp fund, unemployment, and OPEB. Slight increase in some of the other costs, but the main driver, as we talked about on Monday, is the employee insurance driven by the 10.9% renewal rate. For those who didn't watch, again, that's driven by increased utilization, the rising costs of prescription drugs, as well as higher costs to deliver care. We have some, I know Eric's not here yet, but we did have some information on the loss ratio, if you wanted to share that, Jim.
So the loss ratio for the plan for this year is 96.49. The loss ratio doesn't include admin cost. Admin cost for our plan is about 12 to 13 cents on the dollar. So you have to add that in. Our plan is running a little upside down this year once you add in the admin costs. When you look back over the 2 years, we're just under upside down. But I think with the efforts we're going to put in over the summer, we should be moving back in the right direction.
What, oh, I guess.
Go ahead.
What, how much has like our utilization like dollar-wise increased in, say, like the last 2 or 3 years? Like per employee or per?
So we don't have they don't break down a utilization per employee. It's broken down per month per our full subscribers. In the last calendar year, our utilization in dollars was just shy of 13 million. This I'm sorry, that was 23 calendar year. 24 was just over 15 million.
And is this plan, it's a co-op, so is that shared, is there a private insurer on the other end of this, or are we self-insuring with a bunch of other municipalities?
So we're through Maya. Some of our claims are pooled after a certain point, but our renewal rates are not pooled.
Can you explain that?
So our renewal rates are based on our utilization, our loss ratio. Claims, I believe it's over $1 million, get moved to stop loss and can be pooled with other claims within the Maya pool at that point.
But it's premium-based through Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay, so there is there is a provider
Yes.
that's managing it, so we're not self-insuring.
Is it Blue, which state is the Blue Cross Blue Shield out of, do you know? Is it Massachusetts or is it one of the other
It's new,
states?
so we're Blue Cross New England.
New England, okay.
Yep. And we get through Maya, we get a lower admin fee through Blue Cross. I believe the admin fee is about 20% higher if we weren't through Maya. So we're getting a benefit of being through Maya with Blue Cross with the lower admin rate.
And well, you said there would be some steps in the summer to help reduce costs. What are the steps?
So we're going to gather the IEC, PEC, the Employee Advisory Committee to start some education sessions with them about what's been going on in the health industry over the past few years, mainly since COVID. What are those driving factors that have contributed to increased costs? What can we do about educating our employees? I think that's an area where we can definitely make improvements, is educating employees about their health insurance plan, not just during open enrollment, but year-round. And then we can look at plan design, what's going on with the GIC. The GIC really drives our ability to change our plan because we have to benchmark against the GIC plan. And they've not made drastic sweeping changes to their health insurance plans yet. But can we tweak copays? Should we be looking at contributions, different things? There's everything and anything can be on the table, and it just depends on what did those different changes relate to in cost savings for the plan moving forward.
And what does GIC stand for?
Group Insurance Commission through the state. Some communities have opted into the GIC, and some communities have stayed on other plans.
But it sounds like if they were underwater last year or upside down, we should probably expect another rate increase next year as well. I mean,
You could. I don't know what next year looks like. It depends on utilization. One of the driving factors, in addition to what Rodney mentioned, is an aging population. So our health plans, people are, one, living longer and working longer. So we're seeing our aging population, and then you have more claims as that moves up. The weight loss drugs, and then utilization coming out of COVID, especially around mental health care.
I think that's it. Thank you.
So can I just ask a couple? So we're going to have a rate increase regardless. It's just maybe we won't have as big of a rate increase, correct? I mean, health insurance is not going down.
I think one time we've had a decrease was when we switched providers from Tufts to, yeah.
All right. So educating employees, what's the goal of that? What education helps?
I think there's
Don't use it?
no, no.
You're fine.
Everything's fine. I think there's some education around what does the plan offer. I think there's some stopping on, I have health insurance coverage, I go to my doctor a few times a year, but what else can I do with my health, and how can I be an active consumer of health insurance? What else does my plan cover? What does that look like? How am I ensuring I'm getting the best cost for my prescriptions? There's things like GoodRx out there that you can use as well. Advocating when you go to the doctor. Right, we're not going to do that. We're going to bring in people from Blue Cross to share this information. And then making sure folks understand if somebody is on our benchmark plan, there's impacts for copays depending on what hospital you go to. So do people know that? How are we doing a better job of making sure our employees know about their health insurance? Those are some of the things that come to mind.
Thanks. I'm good.
Just a question, what kind of plan do we offer? Are there multiple tiers? Is it HSA, FSA? We offer all different types?
So we offer two plans. We offer one that we refer to as the benchmark. So when healthcare reform was passed, it said that you have to offer a plan that's compatible with the GIC's benchmark, and that's why we call it the benchmark plan. That's a standard HMO, PPO plan with copays, copays for prescriptions and copays for the typical visits you would see: office, hospital, ER, overnight stays, MRIs, CAT scans. We also offer a high deductible plan. It's a $4,000 family, $2,000 individual. To accompany that plan, we offer an HSA.
Yeah.
To accompany the benchmark plan, we offer an FSA. So a flexible spending account, a way for employees to set aside money pre-tax. FSAs have to go with benchmark. It's a use it or lose it. An HSA can only go with a high deductible health savings account, and you can roll it over year to year.
Are you seeing more enrollment in the HSA over time, or?
We're not. We saw a lot of enrollment in the beginning on that plan, and I think that is another area of education I think people can be intimidated by a high deductible, and we always say we have a low high deductible plan because the 2.4 is the lowest you can have on the deductible. I think some better education around what that plan looks like, because really if you're a high user, a low user, a high deductible plan makes a lot of sense. It's when you get in the middle that you really have to do the math to see, is this a cost savings or will it cost me more? It's the middle group that gets complicated with that.
I found at work, if the table's created for people on how to calculate it, they'll actually end up using it and you'll see the savings. So if you guys create that tool for them, it might help them.
We did have a spreadsheet the first year we moved that showed all the different plans and what it would look like in a flyer about how employees could download their usage history and do that comparison. So we should definitely bring that back.
That's good. Thank you.
Wally, anything? Paul?
I'm all set.
Mike, you all set?
Do we offer some incentive for employees to not take the health insurance? I thought we did.
Yes, we have an opt-out for 1 year. So the first year they opt out, they get paid 25% of the cost of the plan over 12 monthly payments.
Okay. What on, I mean, I have to be careful in doing this, but say our average employee, whatever that average employee makes, what do you think it costs us, and this might be putting you in a difficult position, but it costs us on a yearly basis to provide health and dental to any individual employee? Because that's pretty much, regardless of what they make, it's sort of consistent with it.
I think when we did the average, it was around 15 grand, was it?
The average is 15 because the family plan will be more and the individual will be less.
Yeah. I mean, do you think that would there be any advantage to a more robust type of incentive plan? I mean, obviously, people have to have health insurance, and generally, one of the reasons that you would take a job with a town, a municipality, is because of the benefits. But do you think that we could see any benefit financially from a more robust incentive plan with that? I mean, I'm asking your opinion, which I value.
Potentially.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's, I've been saying this since I've been here. This is there's a few monsters that lie in this book, and this is probably been the biggest monster, especially post-COVID. I think we knew coming out of COVID that we were going to see dramatic changes in the healthcare industry, and that's starting to occur now. This has nothing to do with necessarily our own ability individually, but there is absolutely no excuse that all municipalities in the state have not bound together in some form, shape or form of a shared program with this, and that we should be able to incentivize one of the very large hospital chains that make a lot of money, even if they are nonprofits in the state, to be able to team with the municipalities to be able to come up with a more robust MIAA plan, but a plan that includes all of them. And I know that's going to include state action, but it's something that we need to work hard at, because this is going to ultimately be probably the biggest budget buster we have, or we're going to be forced, which I don't think anybody wants to do, because I was around when we did it the last time, diminish that number from 70-30 to something below that. I think I remember it. Bill probably remembers more when he first started, in 1920 when he was a cop, that it was like, I think it was like 90-10 if it's at some point with it. So, you know, I know I'm speaking to the choir with the both of you. You both also pay insurance premiums as part of the town. This is one area where everybody who is in this together, whether it's management or union, non-union, whoever it might be, we all face this dilemma. But we've got to find some way to be able to rail this in, because we can't continue to assume 12 and 13% increases on a $12 million, $15 million portion of our budget, a more than 10% portion of our budget. So
I agree.
the new person will get to face that.
Paul?
So basically, what Mike was just saying, each town in city, basically they're on your own. Are there groups that are regionalizing or doing things together?
There
Or
are
is it
some.
just? Go ahead.
Sorry, there are some communities that have regionalized into a smaller form of a Maya, but they are still getting renewal rates based on their individual communities, based on their specific utilization. So I'm not aware of any communities that have pooled their employee groups together. That's how our retirees on our Medix plan, they're retired across the state, so all retirees on a Medicare plan on Maya are pooled together.
Right.
But other than that, I'm not aware.
Does that work cheaper, do you think, Jen, the way it works for the retirees? If we were, I mean, I'm guessing that would require state action to allow us to do that. I think clearly if it's something that we could do easily enough, we would probably already be doing it, so.
Yeah, there's a benefit to the employee, right? Because they're getting a renewal rate based on a group and not their individual.
Yeah.
So if a retiree has a complicated, difficult health year, if they were on an individual plan, they would see the repercussions of that greatly, whereas it gets pooled in with a lot of other rates. So that's the benefit for the
Yeah.
retired employee. I think we do see some benefit to that as well, because we have the larger pool.
Yeah, okay.
Is there competition other than Blue Cross Blue Shield and Tufts? I mean, when you go out, if you were looking to change your healthcare coverage, or is it just basically those two big name companies?
In our area, those are the two biggest. If you go out closer to Worcester and in that area, you'll see a few others, one or two others jump in. But Tufts and Blue Cross have really locked in the market in our area.
Sure. And that's it for me.
Anyone else? Questions from the audience?
Move the budget.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
And that concludes night 2.
Do you want to we'll just do the fire department now while they're not here?
If anyone asks, we were here until 10:30.
Sounds good.
Somebody call Eric and tell him to go home.
I just texted him and said, don't bother coming. Thank you, everyone.
Good evening.